blinds pulled down. You love it when nobody's around. I wanna call out round town, but you bite my lip, don't make a sound. I'll be damned if I'm leaving without you. So give me a minute to catch my breath. Take what's yours, I'll take what's left. I'm used to coming out second best. Always fail to pass the test. I'll be damned if I'm leaving without you. Wherever you pray, wherever you lay, I'll be there when you call me. Over rivers and roads, wherever you roam, I'll be there when you call time starts to break and the dawn is away, I'll be there when you call me. At the end of the day, when the world is away, I'll be there when you call me. So hum this tune and hold on tight. I'll be with you in the morning light. Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen. Oh, what a beautiful sound. Close your eyes and listen to the sound. When all hope has escaped and the darkness awaits, I'll be there when you call me. If your direction home is lost amongst the cold, I'll be there when you call me. So hum this tune and hold on tight. I'll be with you in the morning light. Close your eyes and listen. Close your eyes and listen. Oh, what a beautiful sound. Change is all around. Close your eyes and listen to the sound. I will walk among the fires. I will run to the deepest corner to see you face to face. You are my present and my future.